Hey folks, many of you are likely already aware that in the upcoming patch, Blizzard has changed the way that the Catalyst converts tier set items. Up until now, the Catalyst had a predetermined combination of secondary stats for every single slot, and if you catalyzed the tier piece, it would always turn into the exact same item. However, the change in this patch will cause the Catalyst to instead copy the original item stats onto the new tier piece, and this gives you much greater control over the itemization of your gear. This is already a fantastic change, but what many people don't seem to realize is that it'll also retroactively work with tier set items from Midnight Season 1. As you can see here, I'm on the 12.1 PTR, and I have a pair of double mastery pants from Mythic Allura. Normally, Death Knight tier set pants from Season 1 have crit mastery, as you can see by the ones I'm currently wearing. However, if I drop these double mastery pants into the Catalyst, it spits out a new pair of Death Knight tier pants that also have the double mastery stat. The best part about this is that catalyzing previous season tier set items doesn't cost any catalyst charges. It is completely free. This means you can stockpile as many different Season 1 items as you want, and instantly catalyze all of them the moment that patch 12.1 releases on August 11th. Just keep in mind that the change only works after the patch goes live. You do not want to catalyze these items on live servers right now if you're watching the video during the week that I've posted it. Well, that pretty much summarizes the entire trick I wanted to showcase in this video. There are a few bits of additional information that I think are worth mentioning. If you're anything like me, your first thought upon seeing this trick would be to try and catalyze certain cantrip items like Voidclaw Gauntlets. After all, in Blizzard's blue post announcing this change, they said that the Catalyst would also retain any special effects on the item. Unfortunately, this quirk of the Catalyst only seems to apply to specific effects from patch 12.1, so attempting to catalyze the Voidclaw Gauntlets or any other special item from Midnight Season 1 will just give you a generic tier piece with identical stats. It's also worth mentioning that due to the change from the patch, all of the original stat lines from the Season 1 Catalyst will become unobtainable. If you're still missing any of the 5 original tier pieces from Season 1, I would recommend catalyzing them now if the stats are actually beneficial for your spec. Additionally, once the patch goes live, you won't be able to upgrade your Season 1 items any further, so make sure to get everything you need upgraded to 289 item level right now, even if you aren't currently using it. Since I'd imagine some of you watching are still unsure as to why this trick actually matters, I want to go through a few quick examples to demonstrate why you should care. Note that I'm speaking from the perspective of a Hall of Fame raider, so if you're a casual, all of this may genuinely not matter for you, but if you do value your performance in endgame PvE, this is a pretty important discovery. Despite the fact that this is gear from Season 1 and will be considerably lower item level than any of the new gear from Mythic Plus and Rating, tier set items are naturally more valuable than their item level indicates due to the bonus. Unless your spec gets barely any power from its 4-piece, which right now can only be said of a few examples like Brewmaster Monk, you'll usually continue wearing your Season 1 4-piece bonus until you fully replace it with your Season 2 4-piece bonus. Depending on tuning, some specs may also run a combination of 2-piece for the early weeks of the season, but even in this scenario, you'll still be running 2 pieces from the previous tier. To demonstrate this point, we can take a look at my Brewmaster Monk's gear progression in Manaforge Omega, which was the final tier of the previous expansion, War Within. Going into the new raid, my monk had a full set of mythic gear from the prior raid, Liberation of Undermine, and this included a full set of Mythtrack tier pieces. Despite farming a ton of M+ and running the raid as soon as it came out, I was still running my Undermine 4-piece bonus for our first Heroic Dementia's kill at the end of week 1. Since Brewmaster Monk's Manaforge Omega 4-piece bonus was incredibly powerful, I was prioritized to get it, and I had fully swapped by the time of our first Mythic Plexus Sentinel kill 2 days later. While 1 week of usage for prior seasons here may not seem that important, any serious raider knows that this is one of, if not the most important weeks for progression, and every little advantage that you can gain will make a sizable difference. Even in this example, where I obtained my new 4-piece fairly early, I still ran my old tier for the entirety of heroic progression and all of my early M+ farming. In many cases, you may get unlucky, or your spec is just a lower priority recipient for your guild, which means that Season 1 tier will last even longer. It should go without saying that if you're forced to run an older tier set bonus, you should try to make it as powerful as possible. When I killed Heroic Dementia's on my Brewmaster Monk, 3 of the tier pieces I was wearing had haste on them, which is nearly worthless for that spec. The same is actually true right now for Monk tier in Midnight Season 1. If I had had the ability to replace these suboptimally statted tier pieces with Crit Verse or Crit Mastery items, it would have made a huge difference during the first week of Prague. As a final note, while this doesn't necessarily involve the Catalyst changes, it's important that you always prepare a tier set item in all 5 slots before a new patch goes live. For example, since Voidclaw Gauntlets are really good, I've been running that as an off-piece on my Blood DK for most of the season, but I have still prepared some tier piece gloves just in case. If I happen to get a really strong item, let's say a Hero Track pair of shoulders or pants, early on in Season 2, it's important that I'm able to equip that item without breaking my previous tier set bonus. That covers everything important that I wanted to discuss for this subject, and if you found this video helpful, I'd greatly appreciate it if you could toss it a like, as that'll help other people find it as well.